Welcome to She's Got This, the podcast for ambitious women who want to grow and scale their business and use the power of intentional energy direction to design their very best life. I'm your host, Christine Gallagher, award-winning business coach and mindset mentor to female entrepreneurs. If you're ready to own your brilliance while making bank, step into the absolute best version of you, and become a force for positive change in the world, you're in the right place. Let's do it. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. You're listening to She's Got This. I'm your host, Christine Gallagher, and I'm really glad you joined me today. Welcome. One of the cool things that I have discovered in my time in business is that messy moments and experiences that we have gone through actually translate very well into your business life. In my opinion, you really need to share the experiences with your ideal people, because this is what makes your message really powerful. It helps you attract your soulmate clients. And I've heard it referred to before as finding the message in your mess. And I really like that. So your marketing message, what is the point of that? Well, it exists because it's functioning to pull people in, right? Pull people in to want to work with you over anyone else out there who does something similar as you. So when I talk about sharing experiences, I'm really talking about being pretty boldly authentic and transparent. And I know that that can be a little bit scary. Personally, I have always been pretty open about the ups and downs in my business since the very start. But in the past few years, I have been more transparent and what I believe is more authentic in my conversations with people than ever before. And I did make a very clear and deliberate decision to do that. And what I saw happen was pretty amazing, because the more I shared and the more transparent I was, not just about the good, but also about the bad and the ugly, the more rewarded I was. So yes, more income and clients, that was a great end result. But what was really eye-opening and fascinating to me was how this affected the level of trust that people have in me and the amount of inspiration that they said it gave to them. And also just the gratitude that people expressed to me when I shared my own messy moments and stories. So I allowed myself to be a little vulnerable just by getting more real and raw. And it turned out to be really refreshing for people to hear that kind of realness. So I started sharing my stories a lot. It was like, hey, I screwed up here. Hey, I felt this not so pretty emotion about that situation or that person. Hey, I totally failed at that. I'm scared sometimes. That didn't work out. I lost money, et cetera, et cetera. I made a wrong decision, right? So those things were what I was sharing more openly. So you want to think of the things that will let them know that others go through similar things as well, even the people who seem to be, quote, far ahead of them or more successful, because that's what this is all about. It's about breaking down walls and being real. And I know that I personally greatly appreciate when the people that I follow or learn from or coach with are real and transparent with me, because when people only show that highlight reel or that shiny exterior, many times that can make people feel worse about themselves, right? And so know this, being a little vulnerable does not equal being weak. And that's really important to remember. Best-selling author and researcher Brene Brown, who talks a lot about vulnerability, said that in our culture, we associate vulnerability with emotions we want to avoid, such as fear, shame, and uncertainty. Yet, we too often lose sight of the fact that vulnerability is also the birthplace of joy, belonging, creativity, authenticity, and love. So when we dare to drop the armor that protects us from feeling vulnerable, we open ourselves to the experiences that bring purpose and meaning to our lives. So how has this created more results in my business and improved results in my business? So first of all, it's lifted a burden a bit from my shoulders. It takes a lot more energy to always be guarded and try to appear as if all is perfect. But in terms of the bottom line, it has drawn in many more of the right people to work with me. So ideal people and people who are a joy to work with because they resonate with me. They totally respect my journey and get it, even though there are messes involved. And most of all, they trust me, which of course is super important when somebody is looking to work with you or hire you. It's really about trust. And I know that not only from the results in terms of the numbers and the clients I've signed on over the past few years, which has taken a big leap, but also because they directly tell me so. So over and over, I hear this from them, especially since I made a decision to be even more transparent. So they say things to me like, thank you for being real. Thank you for sharing what you did about that thing, because now I know I'm normal and I'm not weird for going through that too. I'm so glad you're transparent. That's why I signed up to work with you. It's refreshing. And they also talk about trust, right? Trust are big reasons that I keep coming back to you as my coach. So this is powerful stuff. And I share this all the time with my clients and the people in my mastermind. And they also have started sharing things and being more authentic than ever in their own businesses and are having great results as well. So they share with me that it's actually very freeing and it feels easier than putting up a front or not being the real them. And here's the beautiful thing. You actually speed up your success when you come from an authentic place. Why is that? Well, to me, there are really three pretty big reasons. First, when you come from an authentic place, you'll truly make yourself and your business stand out from everybody else who does similar things as you, because there is only one you. And then the second thing is it'll help you define the benefits of your services from a very real place that will not only make you more memorable, but it will draw more of the ideal clients that resonate with you to you. And then the third thing is being known, liked, and trusted pretty much supersedes everything else when it comes to making the kind of money you want to make and having the amount of clients that you want to have, and of course, making the impact that you want to make. So nothing creates the know, like, and trust factor faster than being the real you in your marketing and in your business. And it's that important. And what do we actually know about being authentic? Is it always pretty? No. And I want you to realize that that is totally okay. So you want to ask yourself, what is your story? What is the message in your mess? And the answer to this question is the reason you are here, in my opinion, here on this earth. So what has happened to you in your life, good or bad, that would be the most useful to share with other people? So telling people your story, your true story, how you got to where you are and why you are doing what you do, that really makes people feel connected to you. And it helps bond you to your audience. It helps them to know you, like you, trust you, as we said, and believe that you are who you say you are. And again, most people only buy things from people they know, like, and trust. So to paraphrase Napoleon Hill, your affliction can become one of your greatest assets to capitalize on. And it's actually good news, because the struggle that you've experienced can be the greatest thing that you end up teaching the world. So people will pay you to learn what you learned during your struggle. Never doubt that. Of course, most people are not doing this. I'd say most of the time it's because of fear or not wanting to truly be seen as a human with struggles. But I know from my personal experience and from talking to some colleagues that I trust, that sharing these things actually attracts more clients and abundance to you. So you want to try this out. You want to maybe take a little risk and shake it up a little and go the opposite way of what most people are doing. I think you're going to be really pleasantly surprised. So sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had, for example, stayed in law school instead of dropping out after one semester because I knew it wasn't for me and I was miserable. What if I had stayed with that last job I was with before I became an entrepreneur, where I was also pretty miserable? And what would have happened if I stayed in the marriage I was in that was very unfulfilling? Great person, but not the right person. So what kind of person would I be now? You want to do that. You want to look at your situation in the same way. So imagine what your life would be like if you stayed in your current situation for 5, 10, 20 years. Like, are you happy? Are you serving your life purpose? Or do you regret the time wasted not being who you were meant to be? So imagine now that you recognize misalignments and you actually take steps to correct those misalignments. What will your life be like now? Will you be happier? Will you be more fulfilled? So when you find a misalignment, you want to address that. And it's not about waiting for the right time or the right place. You want to do it now if you can. If it means changing jobs, do it. If it means turning your business upside down and doing things different, do it. If it means bowing out of a relationship that's toxic, do it. If it means more discipline with your time and energy, do it, because your very potential and the search for meaning in your life is actually directly tied to your healthy alignments. We've all heard of the idea that sometimes things get worse before they get better, or it's darkest before the dawn. So it's like dealing with a mess in a closet. It's an overwhelming mess before it's organized and cleaned out. And afterward, you feel much better about your closet, but also feeling accomplished for yourself. This is true of dealing with misalignments. It's actually not easy work, I will admit that, and you may struggle with it. And you may be like, this is too hard, but I really encourage you not to give up. And yes, sometimes things have to get a little crazy to help you course correct. Sometimes things blow up. I don't want you to think that's all situations, but it can happen. But sometimes you need to take out all the messy stuff in order to put back only the things that matter to you most. So yes, sometimes things need to fall apart for better things to come together. So just know that there is something bigger and better out there for you, and that it's really, really valuable to recognize and correct your misalignments. So I have a couple of questions for you about this. If you think about the analogy I made to the messy closet that you clean out, when you imagine pulling your life out and really looking at it, what are the things that are maybe outdated, that don't fit you anymore, or don't serve a worthwhile purpose for you anymore, that you could actually easily purge? And then the other thing is to try to identify some possible misalignments in your life right now. Is there anything that you can do at this moment to correct some of the small ones? So that would be things like what you're tolerating, things that are sucking your time out of your life, even things like not sleeping enough, not taking time for self-care, etc. And if you have identified some bigger misalignments, which might be things like a business that doesn't fit you anymore, a job that doesn't fit you, a toxic relationship, what steps can you take to tackle those things? So imagine what your life would look like in, let's say, 5 years if you just left things as they are. Now, imagine what your life could look like if you corrected the misalignments. How do those two visions actually differ? And do you believe in the statement, sometimes things need to fall apart for better things to come together? Why do you believe that or not believe that? And as I said, that's not something that's required for every situation, but I mention it because it's really important to remember that if you hold on and you really stay in the game, that better days are coming and better times are coming. And when you clean out those misalignments, you're going to feel a lot better with who you are and how your life is going. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you could leave me a review on iTunes or share it with someone else who would find it helpful. To stay connected with me, please visit she'sgotclients.com and sign up for my email list at the bottom of the page. Or feel free to share this episode on your Instagram and tag me at Christine G and I'll repost you. I would love to share this with as many people as possible. I love you. Until next time, keep shining your light.